blue line is very bullish. The specs in green, bullish. Bottom edge, beautifulness at 77 halves. Good break. And running into the top edge here, still bullish as we ran into the top edge, but just a few profit takers on the likes of the Dow Jones just started to stall that move through that phase. The specs, the prop, not really getting behind it just yet, and really more of a rotational feel about the top edge here at this stage. And you can see that that's what's happened. The market's not really finding any buyers up here just at this point. Value looks as if it should. So I'm watching for maybe a little spring trade to buy into this, because this might be quite an interesting little spring. So a little pullback through the spring levels here might just give you the great add-in opportunity to pop into that bit of business just there. That's what I'm kind of looking at, guys. That bloody bond. Which one of you guys is going to take responsibility for me not getting my my break back down to the 21s, 22s, 20s? Who's going to take responsibility for stepping in at 23 again? Nessie? That trade has got chick written all over it, I'm telling you. Overeager. No bloody patience. Kevin, you're going to have a word with her. Seriously. That's just not cricket at all.
She's doing all the good. She's being quiet, so you may be right.
Here's what happened, guys. Look, so when we look at the belly of the curve, right? So this is the belly of the curve I was talking to you guys about earlier. You can see that the belly gives us this beautiful bottom edge. We get a good rally, then we get that 188 top edge that we were talking about. The reason why the selling came in off the 188 was very obvious. When you look at what's happening elsewhere, you can see quite clearly that the back end of the curve, where it's green over blue over purple, that's a sell trade, right? So that brings the price straight back down. But look at what happens in here. To the back end of the curve, it goes back in the opposite direction. Purple over blue over green is a buy trade for the back end of the curve, and that's in line now with the belly. So we're obviously waiting down here, waiting to get commercial volumes. We're waiting to get commercial volumes, and the way where we would get commercial volumes would be at 22s, 21s, 20s, 19s, 18s, and some bloody person comes in and buys 23, 24. And takes the deal before we even get any volume in it. So no bank made any money on that trade. It's, because there's no volume. Look, never got any volume. Terrible, terrible, terrible bit of business. But it is what it is. We're now just going to have to wait to see if anything else shows up. Okay, we're getting a little bit of spring coming in now on the S&P. I am now actively watching. I'm now actively watching for a bit of a bank buy coming in, so I am on bid watch. Little block trade printed just there at 89 quarters. If you took it, it's went up to 90s. But it has come back down and stopped you at break evens. We're not really seeing solid bids just yet, so it still looks as if it's got further to go in this, guys. Quite an offer book coming in, guys. Quite an offer book coming in. That's giving us a bit more separation. I like that. I like that a little bit better now because the previous trade never really gave as much separation. But we're starting to see the specs just rolling down behind this sell just now. So I am very, very patient with it. It certainly doesn't have any buyers showing up just yet. So I'm quite happy to let it go through the various areas at the moment. Just let it run. It's quite a lot of selling coming in from the prop desks in terms of algorithms. That's still selling coming in, guys. Prop selling coming in. Still letting it run through. Yeah, it was heavy prop selling came in behind that sell-off gear there, guys. So just letting it run through as far as it wants to go, and then I'll start thinking about buying. So a little bit of liquidity starting to come in the bid. A little bit of liquidity coming in the bid. So let's see what happens here. So a bit of volume, bit of liquidity. Some blocks starting to print. Yep, starting to get a little bit more interested in the Dow Jones. Not really seeing much interest from the NASDAQ just yet. So early diddles in this trade. Early diddles in this trade. So I'm just let it go down as far as I could. Getting a lot of business on the block print areas at the moment. Books are a lot more balanced in here. We're starting to see more of a bid on the book. So we've started to buy some 82s, 82 quarters, 82 and a half, 83s. We bought some 83s. It's just traded 84s here now. So I've just traded 84s. It's enough to get a stop in at break even. And that's that trade done. Stops at break even, guys. Perfect. Another perfect trade, guys. Another perfect trade. Just waited for the bids coming in the book, as that's what bid watch means. Few commercial sellers coming in oil on the uptick there. Just a bit of volume on the uptick, guys. Commercial sellers coming in on oil on the uptick. Profit taking. Perhaps not a lot of value for the commercial side. Looks like there's some commercial buyers bidding, Paul, in the gold off the 33s. Did you see that? Few commercial buyers bidding 33s, took it off the price nicely against a very, very good looking Japanese yen and against a very good looking real yields in the background. So that was interesting. So we've got a bit of a situation developing. We've got bids coming in the NASDAQ. So watch that downtick on the S&P, guys. Index arbitrage opportunity to maybe strike into this deal. Oh, it's fast mover here, guys. It's a fast mover. Did anybody get any? It was at 83s, 84s. Anybody get any? I got some. And there she goes, guys. Look at that for a choo-choo train. Stops in at break even, guys. That was a choo-choo train to the north side there. Beautiful big divergence against the NQ. And, you know, had to be rapid because at 84s, the train was just about to leave the station. And as soon as it, just literally as I was mentioning it, Doug, the price has just traded 90 already, guys. 84s to 90, 6 full points, literally in 30 seconds to 60 seconds there. So very, very fast money move and very profitable move as well. So well done, Jared. Well done, Murray, and well done, Duke. Great trade. Great trade. That 33 buyer on gold, probably Paul by the looks of it. Paul was on board. Paul 33s up to 35s. Good trade as well. Very good. $230. Sexy like a box of chocolates there, boys. And you can see that bond is rocking to the upside as expected. Put the belly into the back end of the curve and you've got a brilliant trade opportunity, guys. That's always the case. Belly plus back end, 2s, 5s ready to go. Boom, money's in the bank account. Sexy like a box of chocolates. Yeah, I'm aware, of course, that it's getting a little bit extended up here, so just be cautious. Anytime you see that 10-year extending that amount of volume into the high price, guys, that usually tops out the price in the bonds, the whole suite of bonds. Did anybody beat Jared's 84? Who got in any earlier than the 84 that Jared got? Who's going to claim the virtual donut for the best bottom edge price? Any better than 84s, guys? That's a good price, Jared. 84s, very good price. Just a before she goes squeeze with a bit of momentum for that squeeze through the top edges. 94 traded. Ah, Murray's claimed your virtual donut. 83 halves. 83 halves. Jared, I'm afraid you're on the sloppy seconds. I'm afraid. You didn't want it anyway. Good trade, guys. Good trade. Well done. 84's traded, 94's, 10 points, $500. Perfect. If anybody heard me talking about the 10-year usually tops out the price, then congratulations, because that's exactly what happened. The price touched 180.20 on the bonds and immediately sold off from 180.20 to 180.12. Did anybody go short or did anybody cash in at the top edge at 19s, 20s? Because that's what you're looking at, guys. See that big surge in volume on the 10s? That is nearly always going to be the end of the move on treasuries. The end of the move on treasuries, guys. And that's exactly what it did. That big surge of volume at 1440 on the dot on the 10-year. That was the end of the move, guys. And that's what sent the bond price right off the highs at 180 20s. Now trading 180.08s, believe it or not. from that little call, that little tweet that we put out for you guys. Beautiful, right? So it's amazing. It's that little extra piece of information, isn't it? It's that little tiny extra piece of information that just gave you an enormous profit lift, because most people would never have even have looked at that, would they? Right on that point on the charts, most people would have says, what the hell are we looking at the tens for? And yet there we were right at the top edge telling you that the tens is topping out. And because we know that the tens is going to be the big, the big driver of bonds, as it always is, you're then able to look at the charts and say, well, what does that mean for my trade? I'm in at 20s, I'm in at 20 point, I'm in at 20, and that's it. The trade turns. The trade just turns straight round and says, okay, well, if the tens can't go any higher, I can't go any higher. So I'll just put a note on that in the twits, guys, so that you've got it for future reference. Brilliant, guys. Absolutely brilliant.